Play is something I have been working on maybe in the last 3-4 years, I would say. Play in public spaces, in urban spaces, but also play in the way in which we approach our work. So how do you also collaborate with your colleagues in a playful way? Play is so important, and I think we really maybe we simplify it too much. It's a very complex topic, and I have been working mainly on it while I was at Arup, and together I was really lucky that we collaborated a lot with Lego, and with other organizations, with Placemaking X, with National Geographic, with IKEA, so with a lot of organizations that with UNICEF, where play is very important. And through this work, especially with Lego, I learned from the experts to observe and to understand play through the development of our skills. So while we play, throughout our life, it doesn't matter if we are 6 months old or 12 years old or 37 or 75, right? We still keep developing skills. And those skills fall into 5 main categories. So physical skills, and usually when we say play, this is what people most often think about, like sports, right? Like we use, or walking or running or basketball, like we use physical type of play, developing physical skills to play. But it's not only, there are 4 more. So cognitive is the second one, which is about learning. So what are we learning through play? And that can be wayfinding. So for example, when we talk about placemaking, how do you find your way in a specific street or in a specific part of the city? That can be also part of a play. How do you find your way around? Cognitive can also be understanding some principles. Like, for example, imagine having a square where you have a big water fountain and little children running around to understand why is this water now coming from the ground? How is it going up? So they are learning about some concepts about gravity, about pressure, etc. So cognitive would be about learning. Then the third one, emotional play. So how do we connect with our emotions and understand what we do? That can be maybe being nostalgic about something, seeing something in public space that reminds us of something. Maybe for me, I live in the UK, but I'm not from here. So when I see something familiar, a familiar tree, that's for me emotional way of playing, for example. Creative, when we create something alone or with others. And the final one, the fifth one, is social skills that we develop. So communicating with others. We can play with others in so many different ways. Sometimes verbal, sometimes non-verbal, sometimes on a distance, sometimes being super close together. So when we observe play through these skills, we then see that there is so much that we can improve in our public spaces to enable this play to happen. Because it's equally important for us when we are seniors, like senior citizens that go out for their daily walk because it's important that they stay active, or as they go to the supermarket or marketplace, for example, as it is super important for super young kids, like 3 years old children, for example. And then finally, what we have been researching lately in Europe as well is this concept of nature-based play. So how do we connect nature with playing? Because this is what is more and more disappearing from our cities. And nature-based solutions, that is a concept about developing our cities and urban places in a way that mimic nature in one way or another, to enable more nature to come back to our cities. They are very equivalent and can be connected a lot with different types of play, and for different ages and for different skills. So that kind of nature-based play can be very beneficial, both for nature positive outcomes and for also all these social and community outcomes that we want to kind of produce. And just to close by going back to your question before was, if we think about what architects historically have not been very observant about and good at, it's 2 things. If you think of a typical architectural drawing, usually there are no people, or there are some people that are not always diverse that are not of different age, of different ability or ethnicity, right? Like we always use the same cutouts templates. So people, and the second thing, I don't know if you ever thought about that, but you know how when you see a section of a building, the ground is always one line, one thick line, right? That we show the soil. But actually, that line means so many things in real life that we as architects, we don't really understand the ecology of things around us very well. So one is people and one is ecology. And because that soil contains so many organisms, so many different nutrients, different connections that communicate between each other. And excuse me, as architects, we intervene in these spaces. So we need to understand, I think, still in this age, in 2024, we need to understand much better how to both communicate our architecture and cities with all these different types of people and then all these different types of other organisms and ecology. So, yeah, I think I probably went into 5 billion digressions now.
These are so important points, and like I really appreciate the work that is being done around playful cities design globally, and the way it's being paid attention to, and not just in terms of physical play, but the points that you have mentioned clearly. And Arup work has been so amazing in this regard, and you put it so you put it in a such a so you have explained it in so much briefly. I would say that in an articulate manner that anybody can make sense out of it if they pay attention to it. And I and playful design and all these skills, if we put in all different fields of profession or like in different professional fields, I think the outcome can be very great. Like if even if we teach architecture in a playful manner, like keeping all these skills in mind, I think we can come out of, we can bring more better results out of it. I think like your your last answer was about ecology and people together. And that's so true because we are more focused on the form and how it will look on the outside, but we are not seeing that how it's going to interact with different people and the different object like different organisms and ecology and also the environment, local material and how it's going to respond to it. I see a lot of things that people make a design or form and then they find materials whatever will make bring it to reality instead of starting with the material and forming something out of it. you know
Yes,
and that would be
100%.
so much playful if we use that, picking up the material and then making something out of it. And also the decision of what material is going to be there has to be sustainable and also
Yes.
it shall respond to people, that I would say. So
Mm.
yeah, these points are so
Yes,
important
and
to discuss and consider.